My friends, there is a scourge coming across this land. It arrives at our doorstep every year at Halloween. We must discuss this. Welcome to Fusion. I'm Brendan Saunders. Today we're going to discuss the integration of faith and life when it comes to Halloween. Before we do, I have to ask you, as I always do, for the SNL. That's the three things I ask. SNL, subscribe, notify, like, right? Subscribe to this channel, and be a follower of this channel. Please do that. I deeply appreciate it. Notify. Up in the top right-hand corner, you click on that bell. Ring my bell. Don't make me sing the song again as I've done in past weeks. I was going to sing it anyways, but I'm not. Hit that notify button, and what will happen is you will be notified on your device or whatever anytime that I post the video. And for those who don't know, I generally post the video either late Tuesday night or early Wednesday morning. But nonetheless, would you please ring the bell and then like? Hit the thumbs up and like this video. I deeply appreciate it if you would do that. Now, let us talk about Halloween. There are Christians who do not like and do not celebrate Halloween. I am not one of them. I am not one of them. I never have been one of them. I didn't even really know about them until I was in my mid-20s. I went off to Bible college. The Bible college I went to was in Pennsylvania. I'm from Connecticut. I go to Pennsylvania, and I meet Christians from all over the country. West Coast Christians, Midwest Christians, Dirty South Christians. I don't know if you should ever refer to a Christian as being a Dirty South Christian, but nonetheless, I've met Christians from all over the country, and I found that a lot of them, especially in the Midwest and in the South, that they don't celebrate Halloween. They see it as an evil, awful thing. I mean, I can understand why on its surface, if you're talking about ghosts and ghouls and all that kind of stuff, but they had all these deep reasonings, and I have to tell you, it's pretty funny, because one of the areas that they would often start was the fact that the history of the holiday, they'd tell me all about Samhain and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, I get it. I understand. But why do you not celebrate Halloween because of this horrible history of it, but yet you totally ignore the horrible history of Christmas? Yeah, I said it. I said it out loud. I said it. Christmas has a horrible history, and if you don't know more about it, I guess what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to catch in a few weeks when we get into the Christmas season. I will drop my annual abbreviated history of Christmas, but I do have to admit that in most of my abbreviated history, it's abbreviated because I tell about the good parts of the history of Christmas. I don't tell about necessarily all the bad parts, but I do mention them. And I think it's worth mentioning when you're talking to somebody who wants to tell you about Samhain and how horrible Halloween is, and then you just look at them and you go, but Christmas is built on pagan holidays. The winter solstice, my friend. Everything that you do, from Christmas trees to Christmas lights to the giving of gifts, all had a start in pagan holidays, my friend. What do you think of that? Well, of course, what we know about Christmas is that Christians were trying to Christianize pagan holidays. And I suppose you can make the argument that nobody, when it comes to Halloween, no Christians are trying to Christianize something with a bad history. But the funny thing is some people do. My daughter joked, Halloween is now past. This is dropping after Halloween. And on Halloween night, my daughter joked, I didn't get a tract at all. I didn't get anybody who gave me a little booklet that says God loves me, or I didn't get it, because I usually get at least one every year, Dad. So there are people who try to Christianize Halloween in that way. But like I said, I just think it's funny that they will point to the history and ignore the history of Christmas in doing that. I have always believed, I've always taught that Christians need to take any holiday or any ritual and understand it in its current context. What are people doing? What are people doing, and why are they doing it? Are they, in fact, taking it all the way back to its roots, or is this something that has changed and adapted throughout the years? And so what is being done today is really not at all reflective of where this holiday began, et cetera, et cetera. And make your decision in that. And by the way, I don't disparage those Christians who don't celebrate Halloween. That's fine. That's your choice. Feel free to do that. Just don't look down on me because I'm a candy maven up in this place with all my bags of candy. I think the other thing that they often point to is they'll say, oh, it's Satan's holiday. And again, my response is, well, last time I checked, scripture says that Satan is the prince and power of this air, which basically means that he's in control. This earth, this place is his stomping ground. It's his place to roam, because one day he will be judged, and one day he will be tossed into the lake of fire, and one day he will face everlasting torment and punishment. And until that day, this is his holiday, and he likes to vacation here. When I go on holiday, I like to vacation in a warm place with a beach and all that. But Satan loves here. He's been tossed to this earth. In fact, he's lost his position to be able to be among the heavenly throne and the heavenly throng praising God. So again, Satan's holiday, every day is Satan's holiday as far as I'm concerned. And so this day is no different than any other. And then they'll point out, well, you can say that, but the fact is, there's so much crime done in Satan's name on Halloween. And I'm like, well, when crime is being done, does it matter whether they're saying they're doing it in Satan's name or not? Because clearly, as Jesus said, you are of your father, the devil, right? If you are doing crime and wrong things, you are probably not a Christian. And I say probably. You are probably not a Christian, but nonetheless, you are doing so. And it doesn't matter whether you acknowledge Satan as your Lord or not. Okay, just because on Halloween more people acknowledge Satan as their Lord, I mean, it is what it is. I understand there's a church of Satan, but I understand Satan is being worshipped all around me by people who don't consider themselves in the church of Satan. Satan's being worshipped all around me by some people who call themselves Christians. What? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So again, this idea. And by the way, as a side point, if you're going to judge a tradition or a holiday based on more crime happening on that day, then as a Christian, you better not participate in, you better not watch, you better not have anything to do with the Super Bowl. Yes, I said the Super Bowl, the National Football League, the NFL Super Bowl. Every year in January, they have their big championship game. It's called the Super Bowl. And people have parties and make it a big thing. It's like a holiday. In fact, one of the things about Halloween is I'm not sure if it's a holiday because it isn't like we get the day off or anything like that. I think it's more of a ritual, but I digress. Super Bowl is the same thing. And did you know that crime spikes on the Super Bowl? 2 specific crimes horrifically spike. The first crime that spikes is human trafficking. Human trafficking in the days leading up to, during, and after the Super Bowl spikes. It's horrible, right? Horrible. The second is domestic violence. On the night of the Super Bowl, there are more domestic violence calls to the police than on any other night of the year. So if that's the case, I hope that you also, while not participating in Halloween, also don't ever watch the Super Bowl. Okay? Now, none of this, by the way, is the scourge that I talked about. The scourge that I reference. The scourge that, let me check my time. The scourge that, the scourge that I wanted to talk about, the scourge that I'm seeing every year is trick or treat. What I'm saying is, I see this thing where children come up to my door because I am the candy distributor at my house. Children come up to my door and they don't say trick or treat, and they just expect me to give them candy. Listen, kid, this is all part of the social contract. The deal is you throw on some sort of costume, you walk around the neighborhood, you walk up to my door, you ring my doorbell, and then when I open the door, you say trick or treat. Because if you don't say trick or treat, you're not getting a treat from me. That's the way I roll. I can't believe how many of these kids don't say trick or treat anymore. Sometimes I've noticed that if they're younger children, that the parents will sort of urge them on, be like, "What do you say? What do you say?" I understand that if they're a toddler or whatever, that's fine. But I mean, if you're in kindergarten or higher, right? You're by fifth grade, you're starting to understand the social contract, kid. And certainly by the time you're getting these 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, and these teenagers who just come walking up with their hands all out and their bag all open and think that they aren't going to say a thing, well, you're not going to get a thing from me. It's a scourge. And I've seen it increasing every single year. I've been now distributing candy 17 years. Basically, I went through that thing where when I was 18, I did my last trick-or-treating myself, and then I didn't give out candy for years until I got married, and not even just after we got married, but we had our child. Once we had our child, and we were taking her out trick-or-treating, we started participating in the social contract. And we started distributing candy as well. And that was, occasionally you would get it. But it seems like in the past 3 to 5 years, this thing is just growing as a scourge. I'm telling you, last night when I was giving out candy for trick or treat, there were more kids who walked up to me and did not say trick or treat without being prompted than those who did. And it's a scourge. And it's got to stop. And the only way that it can stop is if parents, you need to train your kids. You need to bring your kids up right. The second way it'll stop is if everybody agrees to be like me and not give out any candy unless you hear those words trick or treat. Now listen, I understand. You say trick or treat, I give you a treat. I understand Halloween can be about tricks too. Don't be trying no tricks on my house. But I'm telling you, come up to my house looking for candy, you better say trick or treat or you ain't getting nothing. I don't even care if you say trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat. Because I will. I'll give you something good to eat. I won't smell your feet. No, I don't want to smell your feet. But I will give you something good to eat. So, what have we learned today? Trick or treat. I will see you next week. On the way out, the 4 things that I ask on the way out. I do the SNL +1. I ask you once again to subscribe to my channel. I ask you once again to hit the notification button. I ask you once again to like, and then I also ask you to comment. I would love to hear your comments. Is this really a scourge? I think it is. Is this a scourge that kids are not saying trick or treat? Are you one of the Christians who does not celebrate Halloween? If so, why? Are you a Christian who does celebrate Halloween like I do? If so, why? Love to hear from you. Leave a comment. I will talk to you next week.